What's up, y'all? It's Keivon here. Welcome to another episode of Boss Talks. Today I have with me Shun McGhee from the band Black History, and I'll let him introduce himself and tell you guys what he does. Hey,
Peace,
Sean.
y'all. How you doing? Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here today. My name is Shun McGhee. I'm from the adult contemporary hip hop band Black History. We're in the DC area, so shout out to everybody 301 202 571 703. Everybody. For sure, for sure. Like I said, I'm just happy to be here today talking about our debut album, What Does It Explode?
Okay, so tell me a little bit about how your band got started and how you guys got together.
Sure. Well, it's a really long story that I'm gonna try to condense. Uh, One day, I came up with the name as I was coming into the grocery store. The name Black History just came to me. I was walking through the doors of the store, and I said, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the band Black History," and I was like, "Ooh, that's dope." And the person that was with me was like, "Yeah, that's dope too." So at the time, I was playing in church, and there was a guy who came and interviewed for a drummer's position, and so he didn't get the position. Another guy did, but I remembered him, and I said, one day I'd like to work with him. So I was
Hmm.
teaching at the time, and I was teaching summer school, and the guy who didn't get the position was attending summer school.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I saw him, and I was like, "Hey, what you doing here?" He was like, "Going to school." And so
Like, duh.
right. So at the time, he was, quite younger than me because he was I was teaching and he was attending. But I said, when you finish, let's get together and start talking. So when he
Mhm.
finished at the end of the summer, then we started making music. We did the first song that we ever recorded together. He was the drummer on there, but the guy who got the job, when he didn't get the job, he wound up being the drummer for the longest time in the band for like eight
Oh,
years, and then
wow.
he played on all the songs, all the other songs that you hear.
Mhm.
So the other guys, they kind of came similar ways. We had a jazz club here, and I met the percussionist, and then we just, just as we kept moving forward, kept meeting other guys, and you know,
Mhm.
here we are.
Okay, okay. And how long has your band been around?
Oh gosh, if it's 20, it's almost 21 now, right? So
Yeah.
like 15 or 16 years, a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a brief interim where I was in another band for a little while,
Mhm.
and then when that didn't work out, right, I came back to my own band, which is where I needed to be.
Okay, okay, okay. And how does like being, I guess, a musician, like how do you feel about that and entrepreneurship? Like how do they coincide for you?
Sure. So, uh, as a musician, people don't really think about it like that you are a entrepreneur, but you really are. And I understand why people don't think about it like that because, especially when I was coming up, right? I'm a Gen Xer. So the whole
Mhm.
thing about being a musician is you weren't really recognized as being a musician until you were signed.
Yeah.
But that
Because
was
your
the era.
family tell you that don't make no money. You need to get a real job or stuff like that. So yeah.
Exactly. So when the age of record labels kind of, passed away, most of us musicians started doing this ourselves.
Hmm.
And there's a huge entrepreneurial component to it because you replace the label. So all the facets that the label would have been doing, the marketing and helping you grow and that kind of thing, that's really all on you, and it's quite an adventure.
I can imagine. What have been some of your successes and failures with that?
Okay, okay.
That's
So
if you consider them failures, because I consider them lessons learned. But
there are lessons learned, but I think, Kevon, I think you gotta fail, right?
it's
I
all
think
a
you
part of
do.
success.
It's part of the game, right?
Mhm. Yeah, for
So
sure.
So some of the failures have been, I mean, it's a lot. Um, let's take, for example, reaching out to folks for opportunities.
Mhm.
You might reach out to people to play at a place that's really happening, where bands that play there start to springboard and do greater things, and that place
Mhm.
tells you no, and the next place tells you no, and the next place, you know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
may travel this road for a long time until you get one yes. Then when
Mhm.
you get that one yes, what the one thing I've learned from that is to take that one yes for everything it's worth. Don't take it for granted. So
Right.
that one opportunity to play at this place, still bring your try to bring your merchandise if you have it.
Mhm.
You know, still put on the best show that you can. Still put on the best wardrobe that you can, and do the best filming that you can, because you don't know A, when your next guest is gonna come, and B, you don't know who's in the audience.
Right. It could change your life.
That's right.
It could change your life. Mm. So, like, with that being said, like, how do you market your band?
That's tough. That's tough, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, because um well, we do our best with the social media.
Mhm.
But the reason I'm gonna say that's tough, right? You know, I'm just all cards on the table. Again, I said I'm
Mhm.
a Gen Xer, right?
Mhm.
So the social media is cool, but however, for my age group, we not all on social media all like that.
True.
You know what I mean? Our life ain't
Mhm.
on social media. So whereas I would put a song up there and think people gonna actually see it, number one, you know, the algorithms and stuff like that just don't let you be great like that.
Oh my
You know?
God. It's changing
Yeah,
every day. Like marketing
yeah.
tactics that worked 2 weeks ago don't work today because they're constantly changing and evolving. And I don't think it's always the best thing. Like give us some time to get
Mhm.
used to some stuff.
That's right.
And they
That's
just
right.
keep going. And it drives me up a wall, okay?
That's right. That's
Up
right.
a
I heard
wall.
that. So you know, I try to do some of the paid boosts. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I also try to reach out to folks directly. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
try to virtually knock on doors, present myself. You know,
You
present the
slide in the
band.
DMs.
Yes, and yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Look, if the DM ain't locked, I'ma slide right in,
You
and
slide in them DMs.
for sure, for sure. And that's I try to make connections in that way.
Mhm.
But you know, there's so much to the to marketing within the social media age that I'm still learning.
Absolutely. Like as someone who like hasn't even figured it all out yet and is like on different social media platforms, like the marketing thing, I don't think you'll ever be at a place where you're like, I got it. Like
Mm-hmm.
in certain aspects, yes. And you may become successful at what you do. You know, like that's the goal. But it changes so much that you like, I got it. But dang, they just added something else. So now I gotta go figure that out. So it's
That's right.
all like a learning process. That's why I asked like how do you market? Because this marketing thing is it ain't no joke.
No, it's not. And if I could say this too, there's a real space here for marketing companies,
Oh, for
because
sure.
we're especially in the music business, because where record labels left a void,
Hmm.
marketing companies could really file in and say, okay, there's a partnership opportunity here for musicians and marketing companies to work together, to present, you know, musicians to the world, and
Hmm.
a win-win for both sides. So you know,
Hmm.
I hope that actually comes to fruition.
Okay. That's what's up. So for y'all out there listening, you know, if you're in marketing, jump on that. um, my next question is like, what inspired you to become a musician slash entrepreneur?
Okay, okay. So let's talk about the music first, because that I guess that's what came first.
Hmm.
Um, uh, when I was a kid, Prince was killing. He was, and
Hmm.
Purple Rain had just came out. and I was walking around my parents' house with an air guitar, trying to make guitar sounds with my mouth.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, "Ma, can I please get a guitar?" She was like,
Mhm.
"What? Get a guitar, whatever." So I happened to spend the night over my aunt's house one weekend. My
Mhm.
parents showed up with the guitar and the amplifier from Sears and Roebuck.
Oh
Now,
my goodness.
now that was a long time ago, right? So I took one lesson around the corner from my house,
Mhm.
and my parents really didn't have the money for lessons all like that. So I took the lessons, kind of put the guitar in the closet for many, many, many years, but kept on tinkering, tinkering,
Mhm.
until when I was in college, I was like, man, I'm gonna play for real. And it still didn't just work out like that. I said I was gonna play for real. My mind was willing, but I
Sometimes
don't
the
know.
body not able.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I had my own apartment while I was in college. I'm gonna tell you, I wore my neighbors downstairs out so much that they used to hit take a broom and hit the
Hit the ceiling.
ceiling and be like, "Hey, stop!" So I couldn't play. Still couldn't play. But I started. But the thing I could do really well was in about 1989, something like that, 88. I started
Mhm.
rapping. I started rapping. And, we had a dare march around our neighborhood, right? In the dare program,
Mhm.
DARE. And so, I wrote a rap for that.
I remember Dare Not to Do Drugs. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember that.
For sure, for sure. So I wrote a little rap. It was bad, but it was a start. And so
Mhm.
I kept on going from there. And then eventually, after playing in church and messing up in church really bad and all that stuff, my guitar skills started to come closer toward my lyrical skills. And I
Mhm.
don't know if they'll ever be exactly the same because I don't know. But that's kind of how, that's kind of how I got started, how the ball got rolling, and how I got where I am today.
Okay. Do you have any regrets about jumping out the window and just taking all of this on?
Mm, well, okay, I have a regret, and then I have some things that I didn't know.
Okay.
So here's a regret. I don't well, I don't know if I should call it a regret, but I'll put it in the regret category. So I left high school, graduated from high school, went to my first year at West Virginia State College, which is an HBCU in Institute, which is next to Charleston.
Mhm.
Transferred from there to the Morgan State University, 1700 East Coast Spring Lane, Baltimore, Maryland. So I did 5 years in college, got my degree. I
Mhm.
love Morgan. But I often ask myself, what if the 18-year-old me would have just packed my stuff up and went to Atlanta or went to New York City?
Mhm.
Um, Probably Atlanta because that was way more affordable. And
Oh, for
you know what
sure.
I mean? And then tried my hand because it was the 90s and Atlanta was still cracking.
It was popping. Atlanta's still popping today when it comes to
Still
music for
popping.
Black people. So,
Yeah. But in
yeah.
the 90s, it was crack, crack, crack.
Oh, yeah,
And
for
you know what
sure.
I mean? And a friend of mine, she said, you should go to Atlanta. And I looked at her like she was crazy because, I was this artist, right? But I was still trying to fit in a conventional hole.
In the world that society tells us that we should live in, you know?
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And I still was trying to fit. And I was like, nah, I'm going to make it here. And what she understood that I didn't understand at the time is that, you ever heard not really heard any musicians heard of a real DC music scene, not
Mm.
genre, right? Because go-go, everybody know
Oh,
about go-go, but I'm
everybody know
talking
about
about
go-go, yeah.
yeah, but a music scene, that's a genre. I'm talking about a
Mhm.
music scene. And so I didn't know that what she was trying to tell me at the time, but I
Mhm.
understand now. Now, what I didn't know, what I was trying to say earlier, is that I didn't know that being an entrepreneur was as hard as it is. It's tough.
It's only the strong survive, okay?
For sure.
Only
For
the
sure.
strong survive. Like I tell people all the time, it's not hard to start a business. It's really
No.
easy. And if you
Oh
want
yeah.
to start, I can help you. Like that's what I do.
Yeah.
But it's hard to run a business. Like,
Mhm.
and that's because it takes discipline,
Mhm.
consistency,
Mhm.
hard work,
Mhm.
sacrifice, a lot of
Mhm.
things that people don't want to do. Like people are very comfortable with being complacent.
Mhm.
They're very,
Mhm.
very comfortable with, oh, I'm comfortable with my fears because I'm afraid
Mhm.
to jump out the window and go
Mhm.
try my hand at entrepreneurship. I'm afraid to take risk and they're
For sure.
comfortable with those fears. So
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. 100%. 100%. Um, what else? What else? What else? What has been a lesson that you feel like you needed along your journey?
Something that I learned along the way that I could have studied and learned earlier was don't burn your bridges.
Mm.
And when people say don't burn your bridges, right, you think, okay, just don't cuss them out. but it,
No
but it,
dropping no F bombs. No.
yeah, yeah, but it's more than that too, though, right? Don't
Mhm.
send them a don't send them a nasty email. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
what you also might want to do is not tell your other buddies in the music community, or in the promotion community about this. You know, just maybe let it ride
Mhm.
because this thing is so circular, right?
Mm.
And you don't
Okay.
know who you gonna run across again later on. I wish I'd have known.
Right. Mhm. Okay. Do you have a mentor or like a business coach?
Um, a business coach, I don't know if I would say that, but I mean, I do have mentors. So I'm thinking of right now a guy who's had a band longer than me,
Mhm.
who is the one that put me on the game. Who said how I learned don't burn your bridges because I was
Mhm.
mad about something at a person that he knew too. I called him about it. I said I feel like doing this. He said, "Oh, don't
Wait a
do
minute.
that. Yeah, that's not what you should be doing." You said.
Uh-huh.
I was like, "For real?" He was like, "Nah, don't do that." You know what I mean? And so,
Mhm.
like, you got to charge into the game. This is how this goes. So I think, not just in music, Keivon, but in life, I've actually had lots of mentors. I'm the youngest of five, so I've had
Mm.
lots of mentors.
Lots of mentors. That's great. I think having a mentor is essential to entrepreneurship and actually more than entrepreneurship, just in life. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Hmm.
like learning from other people's mistakes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I want
Hmm.
somebody to teach me and show me the way. Like there's of course things that we're gonna have to learn on our own, but having somebody there to guide you that you have similar interests with is definitely the go-to. So what type of like books and like podcasts and stuff do you read to like help you along your musician and entrepreneur journey?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I try to, I get with Jamel Hill, what I'm saying, F it, I'm
Mhm.
bothered, you know what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
uh, Toure, he has a podcast that he does,
Mhm.
and he has music guys. He has lots of people
Mhm.
on there. I really watch a lot of stuff. This is gonna sound cliche. I watch a lot of stuff on Black History, right?
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm the band Black
Mhm.
History, but I watch a lot of stuff on Black History because I think the knowledge itself is so important, and the knowledge itself is important to take into business, right? Because
Absolutely.
um, I feel like I should be doing business with people from my community, right? To
Absolutely.
circulate my dollars and things like that. But when
Mhm.
you don't have that knowledge and you come into entrepreneurship, you could
Mhm.
still be practicing your entrepreneurship in a way that is not advantageous to your community. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. What advice would you give somebody who is wanting to be a musician and thinking about it, but like, oh, I don't know if I should start a band. I don't know if I should go solo. I don't know if I should leave where I am and like relocate. Like, I don't really
Mhm.
know how to start, but I have a love and a passion for music. Or I don't know if I should let somebody else run this, or like, should it be a side hustle? Like, what would you say to them?
Mhm. Well, I would say um, get good,
Mm,
right? And the way you get good, it's gonna sound so cliche, but you gotta practice,
mm-hmm.
right? You gotta practice. You need those brooms on the ceiling telling you to cut it out, you know, because
Yo, be quiet.
yeah, please, bruh, can you? But you
Mhm,
need that because that's the only way you get good, and that's regardless of whether you playing an actual instrument or if you're rapping, what I mean, or doing both like I was. You gotta practice. That's one thing. Now,
mhm.
um, the other thing is it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely. I
You
love that.
understand?
It's one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah, yeah. So there's not in this thing. There is no substitute for gumption. You're
Mhm,
going to have to be courageous and step out. And just because the people around you don't believe, Colin Powell said one time, never let people's opinions of you become your opinion of yourself. Still
mhm.
yourself and keep moving.
Absolutely. Um, what is something else that you want to tell us about the band Black History?
When we get off punishment, off pandemic punishment, we coming. We're coming. And the thing I like to tell, in all honesty, about the band Black History is, look, we're an adult contemporary uh, uh, hip hop band, and so what does that mean? We are under the subgenre that I've coined griot soul.
Oh,
So when what's a griot, right? A griot is the person in our African village who told us the village's history, and they
mhm,
usually told us the history with music playing behind us. So that's what we're
mhm,
doing. So if you want to come hear some things that are age appropriate, you want to leave with a message with something on your mind. If you want to
mhm,
walk a little taller than you were when you entered the building, come see Black History. Get the album. Give the album a chance. I know people listen to playlists now while they at the gym and all their music sound the same. Give the album a chance.
okay, okay, for life changing experiences. Okay, I
For sure.
appreciate that. You better put that out there. You better
Yeah.
plug your band and let people know. Like, listen to us. It's gonna change your life. Like, hmm, I'm here for it. Well, I want
You-
to say thank you for joining me today. Um, and I want you to leave with I forgot to ask you this. How can people reach you? Like, what are your social media accounts, your website? How can they
sure.
find the band Black History?
Yeah. So listen, go our website is www.thebandblackhistory.com. We got merchandise on there. Of course, the album is on there. We're talking about entrepreneurship. Buy the album, right? That'll be dope. It goes a long way. Then you can also reach us on social media at the band BH. That's our Instagram. And that's pretty much where we're living right now until we get some of the other platforms going.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining Boss Talks, and I'll catch you guys later.
Take care. Thanks again.